Hello everyone, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. Have you been finding it hard to track your ovulation period and also very difficult to know your fertile periods? Or are you trying to get pregnant and you've been told to have sexual intercourse during your ovulation or your fertile periods, but you're like, I don't know when that is? Well, you're in luck because on today's video, I'll be teaching you how to track your ovulation and know your fertile periods. And if this is your first time on my YouTube channel, I am Dr. RUMI'S and this channel focuses on everything women's health. If this is the kind of content you're interested in, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video and share. So let's dive right into it. On my last video, I taught you guys on how to calculate your menstrual cycle length. That's because without knowing your cycle length, it's very difficult to know when you're ovulating. Even if you're using period trackers, there are times that your period can vary, and without knowing what it is, it may be difficult. Now, if you've not seen the video on how to calculate your menstrual cycle length, please pause this video, go back, watch it, and then come back to this video. So, first things first, what is my fertile period? So your fertile periods are periods that you're more likely to have or get pregnant when you have unprotected sexual intercourse with your partner. So if you're trying or you don't want to get pregnant, this is the period where you avoid having unprotected sexual intercourse with your partner. So let's go straight. So assuming I, Mrs. A, already know my cycle length, and let's say for the purpose of this video, my cycle length is 27 days. So to know your ovulation, we usually minus your cycle length minus 14. So like I said, my cycle length is 27 days, so it will be 27 minus 14. Now bear in mind that this calculation is not 100% accurate, but it works. So we are not saying that if you minus 14 from 27, which is actually day 13, that you must ovulate on day 13. No, what we are going to give is a range. So day 13 plus or minus 2. So, but with this plus or minus 2, you can either ovulate around this period. So this calculation works either way. So let me show you what I'm saying. So I'd already calculated this, assuming I saw my period. This is a calendar for April, and I saw my period, or I started seeing my period on the 3rd of April, and I have a 27-day cycle. Now, how do I know my ovulation for this month? Have it in mind that my cycle is 27 days, so 27 minus 14 is equal to 13 days. And remember I said that this calculation is not 100% accurate, but we give you a range. So plus or minus 2. Plus or minus 2. So coming to this place, let's say my period even lasts for 5 days. So I start seeing my period on the 7th of April, which is the 5th day of my cycle. So let's find 13th. So 13th, on the 15th of April, I should most likely be ovulating. But because this is not accurate and we're giving a range of plus or minus 2, I have 15, 16, 17, and then minus from 13th would be 14th and 13th. So what it means is that I could either ovulate from 13th of April to 17th of April, which is also the 11th day of my cycle to the 15th day of my cycle. Do you understand? Now, for those who are trying to know their fertile period, when they should be having unprotected sex with their partner. Yes. Now let's say something. Now when the egg comes out of your ovaries, it usually lasts for 24 hours. But when you have unprotected sex and sperm is deposited in your vagina and then it travels all the way to the fallopian tube, the sperm waits for the egg for 5 whole days. So you see why if you're trying to get pregnant, you see why you have to be very careful. And some people will say, but I just had sex once, how did I get pregnant? It's because the sperm lasts for 5 days waiting for the eggs. So ladies, guys will always wait for you. Do your shakara small. Now, let's come back. So I'm trying to get pregnant And when should I be having sex? When? This is my ovulation, like suspected I should be having ovulation from the 11th to the 15th. Because I said the sperm lasts 5 days. So what we do is from the earliest day of the possible ovulation, which is day 11th, we add 5 days to it. So day 11th will be day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you're trying to get pregnant, your ovulation, your fertile period is from the 7th day of your cycle to the 15th day of your cycle. Now, if you had sex, let's say on the 9th, which is the 7th day of your cycle, you see that the sperm travels and then let's say you ovulate on day 13th, which is the 11th day of your cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you will still get pregnant. So this idea of having sexual intercourse every day of your fertile period shouldn't be, because if you have sex on the 9th of your cycle and then you ovulate, let's say on the 14th, which is the 12th day of your cycle, 1, 2, 3, 4, sperm is still waiting for you. Or you have sexual intercourse on the 14th of April, which is the 12th day of your cycle, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember I said ovulation can also occur plus or minus 2, which is day 17th of your cycle, which is day 17th, the 15th day of your cycle. Now, this is a free tip for people who are actually trying to avoid getting pregnant. Now you may say, I know my fertile period is from the 7th day of my cycle to the 15th day of my cycle. My sister, we will actually advise you to give a 24-hour grace, which is day 16th, because assuming you ovulated on the 15th, you don't want to be having sex. Maybe you say, oh, this is the last day of my fertile period, now I can have sex. What if you ovulate on that last day? So we're going to advise that you give a 24-hour period, which is you can resume your sexual activities on day 17th. Do you understand that? Okay. So now let's say I have a cycle length of 24 days. So for the second example, let's say my cycle length is for 24 days, and now I'm trying to know my ovulation period in the month of May. So I start to see my period on the 6th of April, which is the first day of my period. When will I be ovulating here? Remember, I have a cycle length of 24 days. It will be 24 minus 14 plus or minus 2. Plus or minus 2, which is 24 minus 14 equal to 10 plus or minus 2. Plus or minus 2. So, from the things I explained earlier, the 10th day of my cycle is the 15th of April. And plus or minus 2, plus would be 16, 17, minus 2, 14th, 13th. So this is my ovulation period. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus or minus 2. And then also the 5-day rule, if you're trying to get pregnant, would be on day 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for a woman actually who has a 24 cycle length, if she's seeing her period for 5 days, her fertile period can actually occur from the day when she's still seeing her period. That will be her fertile period, because assuming she has her blood actually flows for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you see that from here her fertile period has also started? So she can, at the end of her period, start having sex on the 11th, which is the day 6 of her cycle, and can still fall within the same range. I hope I have not confused you, but I have taught you the proper way to track your ovulation. So if there are more things you want me to talk about, please comment so that I can know. Do have a lovely day. Thank you.